everybody. Welcome. My name's Crystal Jardine from discoverspresence.com. If you haven't been with me before, welcome to my channel, my Facebook page. And I am in Three Hills, Alberta. So this is actually my in law's house. And God's been having us on this incredible journey. And I get the sense a lot of people are on a crazy journey right now. There's a lot of people in transition. There's a lot of people going through seasons of change and seasons where there's been such a shaking in their life where everything that they would ever get their security from or identity from, God's put his hand on it and is shaking it because he's breaking off false dependencies and he's breaking off um, the things that we relied on or got our identity from that weren't of him so he can build better and stronger. So just feel free to say hi if you're coming on. Maybe you can write in the comments if God's shaking something in your life. Maybe it's the area of housing. Maybe it's the area of friendships. Maybe it's the area of finances. Maybe it's everything. I was making a list in my journal yesterday and I was realizing there aren't really many areas God hasn't shaken because we're in a season of transition and a lot of our belongings are packed up in storage. Even all my hobbies have been shaken. Um, the things I would do in my spare time, the way I worship, the way I would spend time in my office with the Lord, everything he is shaking. And so I really felt like getting on and just spending some time talking about how do we walk through the wilderness? How do we go through those seasons of transition before we get into our promised land? And I was looking at an old journal, and the Lord brought me to where I'd written out the verse from Song of Solomon 8:5. And I'm going to just read it straight from the Passion Translation. I'm outside, so bear with me if there's weird noises. So, this is Song of Solomon 8, verse 5. Who is one? She arises out of her desert, clinging to her beloved. Clinging to her beloved. And I was just thinking, what does that word mean? So, in other versions, you'll see the word leaning on her beloved. And it means to support yourself, to support herself. So when they went through the wilderness, they chose not a walking stick, not some other crutch, not some other false dependency, but they chose to lean on their beloved. And of course, we know this is a prophetic picture of dependency on Christ. We can't get through these times when everything is shaking unless we're standing on the rock, and that's Christ. And to know his love, to know that no matter what happens, he's got us. No matter what season you're going through, that he's the foundation that you're standing on when everything around you is shaking. And the word wilderness, that can be translated desert. One of the ways I looked up where else is that word used in the Bible, and that word is used for the desert of Sinai when the children of Israel were going through the land of Israel and they came to the out of the desert of Sinai and they stopped at this place of Mount Sinai where you know that they encountered God's presence. And I feel like there's this place where God is saying, will you step into that place of leaning on me and prepare for a deeper encounter with my presence? A prayer group that I meet with on Monday mornings, we were just meditating on this concept of being in the presence of God. And even in Revelation 3, where you see Jesus knocking on the door of people's hearts, and this is written to a church, it's not written to non Christians, actually. We use it that way a lot, but it's actually written to a church. And he's knocking on the door of their hearts and saying, if you will let me in, I want to come and dine with you. I want to come and eat with you. I want to come and have a meal with you and fellowship with you. And sorry, there's a car going by. One of the concepts that came to my mind was when um, the priests were at that place of preparing the bread of the presence in the temple. It was the priests who prepared the bread. And when Jesus knocks on the door of our heart, like when we have company over, we prepare a meal and say, come on in and eat what I've prepared for you. And someone in the prayer group on Monday morning was saying, there is this calling in this season of preparing for the presence of the Lord, preparing for the presence of the Lord. What is the bread that we are offering Him? So I'm just going to go back to the wilderness because I think it ties in a little bit. In Psalm 78, verse 40, and don't mind me, I'm looking down because I'm reading out of my journal where I was writing it down. There's a verse that says, how often they, it's talking about the children of Israel, rebelled against him in the wilderness and insulted him in the desert. So obviously that's how we don't want to go through the wilderness, is being offended. God, I thought it was going to look this way and it actually turned out this way. Or to say, God, you're not faithful. Or to doubt and to break trust. You know, going through the wilderness, that's the time we're supposed to be leaning on our beloved, dependent on our beloved, and leaning hard on him. But later in Psalm 78:52, it says, God led his people through the wilderness like a flock. And if you know anything about shepherds and sheep, the shepherd is there to lead them to the places where they're going to find green pasture. Sometimes he has to lead them through desert areas to get to places where there's going to be good food. It's going to be safe. There's not going to be streams that are going to like wash the sheep downstream when they go to take a drink. It's going to be safe and lush. And so I just want to release a prayer over those of you who have been going through a season of transition. Lord, I just ask for any of us, and myself included, that you would keep our hearts so soft that we wouldn't pick up offense towards you, we wouldn't pick up offense towards others, but that we would lean on our beloved. And also, God, that we would position ourselves to open up our hearts during this season, that it would be a season of saying, come on in, and I want to fellowship with you, and let me prepare for you to be here. Let me prepare for your presence. I want to sit with you in that place of the table of presence and eat with you and be satisfied in you, not seeking my satisfaction in location or in finances or in friendships or in ministry or in job or all those other things that we can get our security in. Lord, I just ask that you would deeply, deeply, deeply root us and ground us in that place of your presence, in that place of being completely dependent on you, completely satisfied with you. And I pray that you would increase your presence as we lean on you during these seasons when the unexpected comes at us. So I just bless you with that. I haven't been on as much lately. The Wi-Fi here is a little bit unstable, so I apologize if anything in the video is a bit wacky. But I bless you and say hi, say where you're calling from, and I just bless you. Feel free to comment if you need prayer as you're going through a season of transition. I'd be so honored to pray for you. And also, For those of you who don't know, I've been stepping into life coaching and marriage mentoring with my husband. This week, in 2 days, is our 21st anniversary. So we're excited to be celebrating that together. But do check out the links posted below if you're interested in complimentary discovery call to see if any of those options are good for you. And I'm still doing healing and deliverance, so there should be a link below where you can look into options for that too. And have a really great day. Bless you all. Take care. Bye bye.